to For Collectors.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to For Collectors, a channel for collectors. And tonight's a special Tuesday live stream event. I got Orlando here with me. Welcome, Orlando.
Hey, Theo. How you doing? Today is an awesome event.
Yeah, it is. So basically what happened was Mike Petty reached out to Orlando. How long ago was it, Orlando, that he kind of reached out to you through email or text?
I would say probably 7-8 months ago. It was before the National, and I was hoping he could come to the National. And it was, this guy's always commenting on my channel constantly, and then I see him in the chat, and he's constantly commenting back, and it got to a point, we started chatting, and he sent me his his phone number and stuff like that, and he's become like my stalker. He follows me in every single live stream, and I follow him in every live stream, and then we text back and forth, and he goes to card shows, and he was showing me these incredible cards that he would pick up at the card shows. He's like texting me a picture of a Babe Ruth. Look what I got. I'm like, God, I said, come on, Mike, you got to share some of that. And no, he didn't want to do anything like that. And finally, I guess it was maybe a couple months ago, he said, listen, I'll go on a live stream, because he doesn't want to have a channel, and he'll talk to you about that. But he wanted to go on a live stream. He wanted to do it on my channel. I'm like, my technical people can't do that, Mike. They just not capable of doing that or any editing. So we're gonna have to go on another live stream. And then he says, well, call Lou Rock. So I called Lou Rock, and I'm trying to get Lou, and Lou, oh, I'm busy, whatever. And make a long story short, he said he wanted to go on with me and Lou Rock. And then when Dylan came on and Lou was there, I said, Mike, you got to go on. This is your chance. And he went on, and I'm so glad that he did. So everybody's going to, I call him the silent majority. There's a lot of guys like him out there that are not doing YouTube channels, but right. They've got, their thoughts to share. And it's just great to see people like that, and with awesome collections. And there's a lot of people out there that are kind of looking at us for YouTube content creators. They're looking from the outside in, and This is one of the guys. And I wanted to share him to share his opinions of what he thinks of the hobby and what he thinks of the content creators and all this stuff that we love. So it's Mike Petty. He's just an incredible guy. I just want you guys to see his stuff, because he doesn't want to have a channel, but eventually I'll convince him.
Yeah, we got to convince him. So let's bring him in. How about that?
In a world that won't stop breaking.
AJ Brown! No way! 99 out of 99 RPM!
In a hobby filled with hustlers, scams, and flimflams.
We got a 1987 Fleer!
One collector is watching it all from the shadows, fighting hobby crime, one snarky comment at a time.
One of these days, Norton.
And now, it's time to get petty.
Let's crack it out and find out it's
Anal
true.
Eddie.
I'm gonna have a parallelogram with a cracked Ice House Treasures kaboomy. Cause when you're fat, old, and don't give a shit, you don't need to work.
On January 30th,
Are you trying to push my buttons?
the eye appeal event of the millennium,
Your hair is so luscious. Look at that great hair.
I just got it cut.
Mike Petty leaves the chat and joins For Collectors.
Theo would love this one, but unfortunately it's got terrible eye appeal.
He's not the collector we need. He's the collector we deserve.
People say, well, buy what you like. Collect what you like. That.
Dark Mike rises. Only on For Collectors.
A little beverage, I'm ready to talk some baseball cards.
And where is he at? There he is.
Bow down to the king. King Petty.
So
Hello
Mike,
there, guys. How are you? Thanks
So-
for the
so
intro. That's something else.
Mike, you made me do that intro, or else you wouldn't come on, right?
Well, once you did it, I couldn't say no. You can see I have going on here. I got quite the issues. I don't even want to go into that, but we made it. So I'm ready to talk some baseball cards.
So Mike, off the top, what made you want to finally come out on camera for Dylan's show and kind of come out from the shadows?
I think it was just about time.
Yeah.
I think I want to put myself out there, show some cards, I guess, and just talk shit and be part of the group. It was fun. Like I said, I've really had built a nice relationship with Orlando. We've spoke or text each other and emailed in the past, and I just really like your particular group of guys and what you're doing. I just wanted to support you. That's all.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Mike, tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I told you everything you needed to know last time. I guess if you watched any part of that 2-hour fiasco, oh my god, just
at midnight.
Well, I know you were up till 1 in the morning watching that. You guys even wore me out. But basically, I've been a collector since I've been 7, 8, 9 years old. I remember, opening up like the 71 tops for my first year. And even finding some certain liquor stores and things like that even had 70s tops, and was always just fascinated by even the older cards. Even then, where'd Orlando go? Why'd you kick him off?
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
I'll bring him back.
All right.
There we go.
What happened there? We changed places. I look much better on the bottom square. Okay.
You're the star.
Yeah. So anyway, just trying to tell you about in the 70s, how I was fascinated with the older cards, and pretty much always have been. So, I have go over to friends' houses and I'd see their brothers had cards. So then I started seeing 68s and 69s and 67s. And then just every chance I could, that's how you learned about people then, or the players. And I had a fascination for the game. I went to a lot of games as a kid, and, read books and things like that in the library as a kid about the game. And that's how I, really got interested. And then from 71 to about 75, 76, I collected pretty good. And a lot. 72s were really hard to get. We couldn't get, I guess, the high number series here. You had to send away for them. I never did really have them until later, probably in my 20s. And then I was a set collector back then. And then just, life gets in the way. And I think at one time, and so I ended up selling my collection after I had a situation at the house where I basically lost my house in a fire, but the cards were like the only thing that weren't damaged. They were in a room that were sealed, and it got a little smoke damage. I ended up just, went, like I think I told you guys about I went through a little divorce, learned about community property, basically how, your wife, she gets the property and you get to leave the community. That's what happened to me. And just had to, kind of reinvented myself. So, I sold about 95% of them. I kept a few cards. Like I kept one of the Koufaxes that I had, I showed the other night. And I kept the Ernie Banks and a few of the cards, nicer ones. But I did sell all the sets from the 60s. But again, when other people in the 80s were, they were chasing the next best things, the Ben Sheets of the world, the Ben McDonald, whatever these guys, all Greg Jeffries,
Kevin Moss,
Mattingly's, and these guys were all decent players there and then. But I just knew even then that it was like, what are you doing? Like, how these guys are good. These older players, and not that the players that we saw were, you always think your generation, or there were some great players back then. But in the end, look at Canseco, look at Mattingly, look at Strawberry. These guys are all flawed. They're all and Bonds, and not only that, but they're either disgraced or they're not in the Hall of Fame to some degree, or the cards, and then they printed so many. And while others were doing that, I tend to focus on the older things, and so that's why I have such strong opinions, I guess, for some of these guys, and it really came out in the in some of these channels that were popping up about there was not. I think Mike Moynihan was the only one that had like a vintage channel. Nobody else, even ventured to do this. It was all, like you show in your intro, all the carnival barkers with the investors. And I just shook my head. In most cases, I just didn't comment much because it was just all salty. And then I would either get cut off or they'd block me or whatever. So I said, fuck that. I'm not gonna entertain that shit anymore with these guys. And I said, they'll all get there someday. They don't know what they're up against. All these guys, like they're back again, And I'm going, it's not that I wasn't really back again then. I stopped. I didn't buy. So as much of a buyer as I was building up to that point, once those prices got out of hand, I literally didn't buy shit worth value. That's where I got that's when I was chasing the rest of the raw cards, like the player runs of the Brooks Robinsons and your, as that burrito guy would say, my lower tier burrito. I like my player guys. So Gaylord series and things like that nature card, and they probably still went up. And if you want to really look at it, I probably I lost money on those maybe, but again, if you don't sell them, you're not losing, and I really don't care. Considering I wasn't buying Willie Mays, I wasn't buying, the top guys in the Ruths, and I just let them go. And like I said the other night, I was should have started at the top, worked my way down, but I really wanted to get a feel for it. I knew we're going to talk about trimming tonight and things like that, and all the card doctrine going on, and I was really mindful of that along my way. And I wanted to kind of make sure I knew what I was doing a little bit before I started spending, big money like I do now.
Hey, Mike, we got somebody that's waiting to come in here. You want to do an intro?
Who's that? Is that?
It's the one we talked about prior to starting.
Yeah.
Let me give him an introduction.
It's Linguini guy.
Okay. Hello again, everyone. This is Howard Cosell coming to you live, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Three Rivers Stadium. That man right there, bottom of your screen, John Mangini Jumanji. That guy could kill you.
That's the best opening I've ever had. Best intro.
The grace of an antelope. He's a heavyweight like no other. He could hit. He makes you bleed. Tell 10,000 people, how does it feel to be the heavyweight champion of the world? John, take it away.
Hey guys, I have a quick question right out the gate.
Yeah.
I want to know, is Mike Petty going to become the Taylor Swift of YouTube sports cards?
Well, I sing better than her. That's
Okay, I'll be the Travis Kelce.
okay. Yeah. But yeah, it's good to have you on here. Thanks. I also we're going to talk about a little bit about your big show tomorrow. That's why I'm glad you came on, because I have a card to show you. You know how I always love to look at baseball cards like John does. So I don't know.
Man.
Let's take a
I
look.
got this card, John.
Let me give
Focus in.
Can you see that?
Hold on. Oh,
And read
nice.
the back. Read the back, as you can see.
All right, well, I'm going to show you the back because I can't really read it. But the first thing I want to show John, though, about the card, it's in a penny sleeve, as you can see, and something happened to it. Look, it got creased, you see? Or it's got a fold in it.
Yeah.
Can you see that? So I actually got your kit, kit in the mail today. And so I'm going to try to take that out, if you will. So here's what it says on the back. I mean, you guys can probably read it, but I can barely see it. Okay. So it says Gary Tozier, Joe Orlando, and Brett Higgins are three guys certain to remain teammates for years to come. Gary is one of the best card doctors in the business, able to turn just about any card into a gem. Joe runs the world's most trusted grading company, where only top quality restorations can earn a PSA 10. Finally, nobody is better than Brent at selling altered cards on eBay. Sometimes Brent even assigns his own high-end designations and joins the bidding to drive up a card's price. So that's the card, and we're going to fix this thing tonight. I've got all the goods here.
Can't wait.
While we're talking, the first thing I'm going to do, I have your special sauce that you sent me. So I'm going to pour some of this right now into I'm pouring this right in here, and I'm going to put the card in here. Let that soak a little while we talk. All right, so that's
Guys, don't try this at home.
yeah, they're only going to. So this card came as from 2017. We were going to pass that out at the National. Of course, I never went, but I ended up getting it. They sent me a couple cards that we were talking, because the trimming and the doctoring was quite big then, before everybody came back into it and forgot all about it. In 2019, they ran right over that. They never discussed it, and even now it seems like it's gained a lot more momentum and steam and whatnot. And you guys talk about it more tomorrow, and you'll see what you guys think, because you guys have been collecting a hell of a lot, much longer than me, and have collections, that, like I said, I can only dream of. But
we were talking about that, the altering cards, and when you try to remove the stains and the soaking and all that stuff. And I had sent you and John also pictures of the cards that have actually been altered, and I wanted to share one here that shows what happens after you soak a card. I don't know if you could see the back. See that glue stain?
mm-hmm.
It comes right back. So that card used to be real white. After a while, it comes back. Now this one was graded properly, because this is an old one. I had it graded, and it graded a 2.
But it didn't have that spot on it.
I have another one, because you could see that. Hard to see there, but you could see that it is, the glue stain does come back there. Mm-hmm. And I have another one that was graded a 6 from PWCC that Gary Mosier soaked it, and it actually was in the blowout cards forum. And when I saw that it came out, I went to the safe deposit box. I looked at it, and the stain was coming back. It was perfectly white when I bought it. The stain was coming back. So I went ahead and I emailed Brent. He passed me on to Betsy Huggins, and make a long story short, they wanted me to prove that Gary Mosier had done it. And, I linked the blowout card things to that. I mean, the and all that, the breakout blowout thing. Bottom line, I never did get the money back, but of
course not.
Compare I have that other card in an 8. I have that 6 that I got from PWCC altered Moser card, and you could see that the color is faded on one of them. The one that's soaked, the color is faded, and it's way too white that it's supposed to be for a card that old. So there are ways to tell that the cards are soaked.
And you think that's happening to all the cards mostly, or that's something that's going to happen? What do you think, John?
Absolutely. I mean, it's already happening.
Mm-hmm.
I said Theo in Orlando. Heritage has a 1915 Joe Jackson in an SGC 8.5. I sent it to them. Mm-hmm. I mean, this thing has the whitest borders, has a few areas that are suspect. I just don't buy that all these high grade examples from that long ago are coming out of the woodwork. I mean, the Cracker Jack cards, which many people's never touched one, because everything's in a slab these days, but they're very thin, very thin. And to me, the ones that look the nicest, if you look at the old, cards from the 1800s and things like the Cracker Jacks, the ones that look the best on the front, like really sharp and near perfect condition, are the ones that were stored in scrapbooks. And so, to me, I suspect that was probably the case with this, and it's clean. But I look at everything. It's like, I feel like Keanu Reeves in the Matrix, that I took the pill and now I could see all this stuff. Yeah, like I look at it all in a totally different light. I don't trust anything.
No, I don't either. I mean, so we were going to talk about this card. So, like I told you, I started out small, or from the bottom, kind of like worked my way up to some of the more expensive cards. And I bought this. Now take a look how that fits into that container, or that PSA. I mean, that's a standardized card, isn't it? Now either it's in a 1956 or 55 holder, but look at those borders. They're small, aren't they?
Yeah, they look a little small.
Yeah.
Shake it, Mike. Shake it.
it moves around.
Yeah, it moves too much. It looks like, Mike.
So anyway, it's one card that I always irritated the shit out of me. But it's like I'm not going to send it back, and I don't know. Somebody will want it at some point, but they're going to have to. I'm sure it's been trimmed.
Yeah, you got to measure up against the raw one.
Well, let me. I have this came in my kit
That's
today.
the one, the
Yeah.
kit. Do you have the rest of the kit, like the
Yep.
hammer and all that stuff?
Well, I'm almost on phase 2. That soaking's about done. This measured 2 and 2 and 2. 1, 2. I don't know. 2 and 3/16. Is that right? 2. No, not 3/16. 2 and. I don't know what the. I don't know. Who can read a goddamn measuring tape? Hey, so anyway, we're almost on number 2 here. Let me get my spray out that you have, Mangini spray.
Close up. So you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it live.
Spray it up right now, really good. And this is really the key, I think. The magic.
Oh my God.
This stuff, you rub it all on the card, and it's really good.
That does work the best.
Of course, I've got my Mangini special glove.
They should use lube on all those when they alter them because they're screwing us.
That's exactly. Because I mean, how there are. All right, and then now this is a very stage here. The Gorilla Glue and the crowbar. You gotta be first of all, you got an easy open top. Put a little bit of this on here. I'm making a frick. My wife's gonna kill me. And this,
I hope you have paper
this was the best thing, the hammer. I see where you can. I'm gonna try to. Then
There's Weiland then.
Hey, I forgot. I had another item in that kit that I didn't show. It's a rolling pin.
Smooth out the wrinkles.
the duct tape, that worked good. So now the almost out. You can almost see it. And now this is the key ingredient. And I'm going to show you what it is. It's just like it. You can see I've been using it. See that? This is really the key. This is I have to tell him, John. It's paw balm.
And it smells good. It takes the cardboard.
And then you take the spoon and you spoon the crease. Brush that off. And then all we got to do now is just take a little corner off. All right, I'm almost done. I'm being very careful with it. All right, and there you have it.
Oh, that looks so much better.
Isn't that better?
Send it to PSA.
The crease is gone. Whoops. I got another crease.
I don't know. The satchel I fixed might have looked a little better.
Yeah, that was a good one. You have experience. This was just my...
If you do that process 3 more times, it'll get even more out.
But I mean,
just keep trimming the card all around until that crease is gone.
so the funny
It'll only be this big, but it'll be nice and sharp.
I think it's amazing though. I actually love the cards look after they're done, like we all do. And like the big thing that you'll talk about tomorrow again too is that we want disclosure because it's just fraud any way you look at it, the way that it's being done in the industry. They do it. They put it in a nice case. They put a grade on. They sign a grade, and it's costing people money. So if you look up the definition of fraud, you're basically deceiving for money, and that's fraud. So there is no disclosure. There never will be any disclosure. It's just a dirty part of the hobby that's never going away. And I think too that I like to just I'm going to continue to enjoy it. At one point, I know when I saw all these drafts out there, I kind of quit. I gave that up just because there's so many fakes. eBay's not doing shit about it. Screw them. I like to fire companies. I like to, if they piss me off, they cheat people. I just don't do business with them anymore. But
Mike, it's funny you say that because my first inclination was I need to get out of the hobby.
yeah.
Like it's just getting outrageous.
Mhm.
So the question we need to pose is what are the long-term effects of it? For instance, you've seen Kellogg's cards that are in PSA 10 holders, where they obviously flatten them out too quickly, or for whatever reason they cracked after they slabbed them. They have cracks in them, but they're in a 10 holder. Orlando just gave an example of a card where the glue was the residue was removed, it was slabbed up, and then years later, or however long, Orlando, I don't know how long, but that residue came back. So what are the long-term effects going to be? Because if you shell out 40 grand for that card in high grade, and then a year later, when you're flipping it over, there's all kind of residue on the back, or some sort of fading of it, like then what?
I mean, for me, I just will never buy a card for that much money. And I told people before, could I buy a card? Like, could I buy one of those Joe Jacksons? Sure, I could. It would, but I won't, just because of that. I won't trade for one. I just don't want to, because if I get beat for $4,000 or $5,000, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But to get beat for 50,000 or to just lose my taint, that would piss me off. That's like like losing a house or something, or being swindled. And I just don't like to do. I don't like to be swindled for any amount, whether it's 100 or anyway. That's left the gate. Those cards for me. But,
yeah, I'm the same way. Could I buy them? Yeah, I could buy some of those cards, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't spend that much on them. And I have the thing that worries me the most is if they can take and clean these cards and change the grades so drastically, are they going to be able to take reprints and make them pass?
Why wouldn't they? Don't you think that some are already in there?
Oh, I know some are in there. I know some have been graded that way, but I remember when I put my card room together, my brother-in-law came in and he's like, I don't get it. Couldn't anybody just remake these? And I'm like, yeah, well, not really, because, the cardboard's from a certain era and you just can't duplicate certain things. And it was different printing. But
I think it's easy.
But I think, yeah, that's the big fear for me.
Mm-hmm. And
I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Guys,
remember that
guys is not that hard. Excuse me, I'm going to try to.
The 84, the star cards, those were reprinted, those were faked, and those were actually graded by PSA and stuff. And at one point, they stopped grading them because they couldn't tell the difference between the real ones and the fake ones.
They're so easy to grade because they almost look like homemade cards anyway.
They did.
How would you ever know the difference? And if you're, the Michael Jordan selling for $100,000, and it could easily be a fake.
I remember when they came out, they were like every month a different player would come out, and you'd have like different cards of that one player, and they were hard to get.
I mean, I'd definitely be very wary of high grade vintage cards like those, that you're talking about, John, or even from the 50s and 60s. I mean, come on, it wasn't meant to be a 9, even, and a 10. It's crazy. So,
Orlando, I don't trust any of those super old cards that are in 9s, 10s. No way.
I bought my mantle, the 52 mantle.
That beautiful mantle.
I'll see if I can find it. I know I have it around here, but I want to show that again.
I know what you call it, the high grade, low eye appeal, Mike.
Oh, it's got terrible eye appeal, unfortunately. And you can't put it in your registry.
Let me do a little bit of housekeeping real quick while Mike gets that card out. We have 55 people in the chat right now. If anybody has any questions for Mike or Mangini or anybody in here, put them in the chat. We did have a question for Orlando, so I don't want to ignore it. And then I want to say hi to Sammy. Sammy, welcome, man. You've been just sitting there.
Sammy.
Thanks for joining.
Sammy, what's up?
Yo. All right, so
I
just wanted to.
My boy Sammy.
Yo, yeah, man. Dude.
I wanted to show that.
No,
so that's a good segue for to show that. I couldn't find it the other night. So Dave, nice to meet you, my handsome friend.
You too, man. I wanted to see the face behind all those crazy comments you've been leaving on my channel.
I'm a nut. Crazy. Yeah.
And yeah, man.
I always like to make people laugh. And my when you write things on troll around like that, a lot of times people don't get your sense of humor. They, it comes a dick, and I don't give a shit. I am a dick most of the time, but that's okay.
Well, I was going to say, like, not knowing your personality,
Yeah.
you never, when you just see people commenting, you could take it the wrong way because there's no inflection, and you don't necessarily know who's making it. You don't know the person.
Everything that I do in my life is based on trying to make people laugh.
Me too.
Since I was a kid, and that's really where I'm coming from, and really from the love of the hobby, not for the love and the love of the cards, but not for the love of this other bullshit that I see as just a money grab, as we discussed. How I just feel like it's all head in a bad way at some point. But,
yeah. I say I still love collecting, but I'm getting to hate the hobby itself. And that's a weird place to be in.
And you asked me why I came on too. I think part of that is like to come into a group like this and to just share, stories and cards and things like that. You can kind of put all the other bullshit aside,
Right.
So anyway, this is my very low eye appeal mantle that I wanted to show. But mostly, so this is I think it might be the only card that I paid over $10,000 for. And I bought it in person. And that was the story. I bought it in cash. But before I was going to buy the card, I wanted to research the card first to see if I could find it. So I went on to VCP and checked out all the sales. And you can find the same exact card. It had all the same marks. The card has a tiny surface wrinkle in here. It's got a spot here. Other than that, it's got very low eye appeal and it doesn't go in the registry, so nobody wants it. It's only me.
Dylan doesn't want that card.
Dylan, are you kidding? Those guys, and even Orlando, he would spit at that card because his is like, this is a fucking 10. But so anyway, I looked it up and I found it and saw what it was sold for, and it sold for I think it was like $18,800 a year before, or a couple of years before. And then after that, it was at Love of the Game. I talked to Al, who you guys probably know. He's on Net 54, and he said he remembered that he had changed it because it was in an old case. They put it in the new case before they sold it, and so I felt good about it. I could see this, I could tell the corners were a little wonky, and I'm going, was it trimmed? Or no, I don't think so. I could see the original card wasn't trimmed. And then later, a guy named Ted Zandakis, I don't know if you know him, John, or any of you guys met, he's on Net 54. He showed the card. They were talking about Type 1, Type 2, and he showed his collection. And he showed this card raw, with nothing on it. And he didn't really say it was his, but I said, hey, wait, that's my card. And so I matched it up. He sent me a better picture, and I was able to match the card up and see that, it wasn't tampered with. So I felt good about when I bought it, and I made a pretty good. I was very happy with the deal. The guy's actually a very nice guy, and that he actually started going full time now into the card business.
Hey, not to cut you off, but I did want to say Chris from Missouri's in here. His Bowman card's going to be on a Love of the Game too. So
which one?
The one that's only a couple of them exist. It's the Dodgers in action card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked to Chris.
The card that never was made.
I haven't seen it. Does he have it, or does Al have it already?
I think he sent it yesterday. He told me. He did want to say though he doesn't believe it's actually Mike Petty in here. Could you prove it by saying an insult to him or something?
What's up, Yogi? Doesn't he look like Yogi? I mean, everybody's got a nickname.
Yeah.
But,
I got to tell you that you're right. Yeah, Petty, take a drink there. But from Love of the Game, Mr. Fooley, He's a great guy. I got my mantle from him, and he
Yeah.
knows exactly where the cards come from, what collection, the people. He actually goes out to their house because he's got a pretty small auction house, but he's pretty powerful with the vintage stuff.
And he gets good
And-
prices. And I told I have that. He's my go-to guy. Like if my wife ever has to sell anything.
Oh, I dropped off stuff to him at the National. I auctioned my stuff with him, but he's really good. And then I talked to Chris about it, and you know, he's going to do a lot with that card. He's going to promote his card and hopefully
Chris
make it a
is-
big deal. You know,
He's a
and the
great,
guy's one of the most
great guy.
honest auction guys around. You know, you can, if you call him right now, his auction house, he'll answer the phone personally.
Mhm. That's the kind of service I like. Now, John, have you ever sold any cards?
I did. I did in two stints back in the early 2000s. When I got back, I had to bring all my cards out of storage. They were all at my parents' house, and they were moving, and I had to bring them all out. And it started me collecting all over again.
Oh, brother.
I had just gotten married. My wife couldn't believe what she walked home to when she saw all the boxes everywhere. It was priceless. I wish we had these kind of smartphones back then, so I could have videoed it.
I'll bet.
And then when I got again back into it in 2014, I had a lot of stuff that I had acquired, a lot of doubles and stuff that I was holding, because I save up all my doubles and things like that. I always said when I retire, it'll give me something to do. I'll sell off my doubles and then
How do you get
just
them? How do you get them?
the doubles.
Yeah.
Oh man, I opened so many packs back in the day. Like I had from my childhood collection, I had 9 Ricky Henderson rookie cards
Right.
that I pulled all myself.
Right. Like I had 30 Willie Mazes in the 71 and 72. And
Yeah.
I would cut them out and I'd put them on a piece of cardboard and I'd make like collages with them, or I'd put them on the inside of my closets, with all the command, cut them up to pieces. And I mean, the things we did as kids,
Yeah.
Those, I love that. I love those 71 set.
No, but sometimes John buys doubles and he doesn't realize it. I know at the National,
That happens.
He got a tattoo orbit, and I'm like, man, John, that's a good card. Then he gets home, oh, I got 2 of them.
But no, I knew I had that. It was just I had both of them, both the tattoo orbits. But those were just such great examples. I couldn't pass them up.
Right. I know what you mean. You see a card like that, and you maybe it's a better one than what you have, or what I can. Because I'm starting to like a few doubles here and there, like on cards. Like I started with the Kellogg, with those cards a few years ago. I just love those. Get it and find it nice, like 71 Willie Mays or Clemente, or even the 1970s can be quite challenging, and especially since you said too. I mean, you can get them to be 8 or 9s, and they're cracked in the PSA case. And
Right.
I wanted to bring up, it's not. I mean, that's not PSA's fault per se, because they're not grading them like that. They grade them and then they crack in the case. It's almost like I had a mint Willie Mays baseball, signed baseball. It's by PSA, mint 10, Jim Mint. Well, you can't even see the fucking signature. It's off. It literally disappeared on the ball. So is it a Gem Mint? How Gem Mint is it?
Will they re-slab it? That's the question. with the Kellogg's, it's definitely not their fault, right? That happens after they slab it. Where it might be somebody's fault is, as I mentioned this on a video, is you can't just flatten those things out right away.
No.
Because most of them are curled.
Oh, but
anybody that's ever stored those knows.
I flatten them right out like a pancake. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but when you do that
in a week,
very quickly, they can crack. And so in order to slab them, that's what they have to do.
Let's see what I got here.
But if you're like me and don't care about the slab, then I don't have cracked ones that cracked on me.
I mean, I don't know. These are Kellogg's and raw, but let me see what I have here. Because I love these cards. Now, John,
I love the Kellogg's.
3D Kid, is he still around?
He's in the background, but look who we got.
Hey,
Hey, Mike, I want to show you something.
Yogi's in the house.
So 3D, did you make that name up because of the Kellogg's?
It has no relation to Kellogg's, no.
Well, you need to collect these because they're reasonably priced. They're hard to find. The 1970, 71, and 72. So I loved it. This is the 1970s, you know, and SGC is really hard on it. That could be a 10, you know. There's the Clementi. Yeah, I know you guys all have these. But they're just so fun. And these cards, like, I mean, here's a nice Clementi, you know. You know, it's a 7, and it's got terrible eye appeal because of the centering. As you can see, that's why it's a 7.
Hey,
And-
Mike, my 71 Clemente, when I was looking for it, there was a 9 and there was an 8. And I specifically picked the 8. Like, they were around the same price, but the 9 was so drastically off center, and the 8 was way better.
Yeah.
So you can't go by grade, man. You can't go by a number.
You can't. On these, like, I have a Pete Rose on that one. I think it's a 4 somewhere. And I'm going, like, it's got no cracks.
Yeah, look what John's got.
It looks better than the 7, and it's centered. Like, look at that. Oh, yeah, that's the 72 Mays. That's good. You've got that. And you love Willie Mays too, right, John? 3D.
Yeah, that was my first vintage project, was Maze cards. So
I love that. Yeah, that's great. You can't go wrong buying the Maze. I just think that they're going down a little bit in price.
This one I was gifted to me from Matt at the Card Story, and this one I bought in an eBay ad raw that was a really crappy picture, but the guy had great feedback and said it was near mint, and I believed him. And I got it for only $30 because of the crappy picture.
Wait a second. You bought a raw card that wasn't faked or trimmed?
I mean, I do that. I get beat like a
I thought all raw cards were fake to trim.
There's the Rose. You know, it's a 4. I'm like, why is that? It's a signed grade of a 4.
That's what Greg says. Yeah, signed grade of a 4. It probably has a tiny little crack somewhere when it gets a 4 like that.
Maybe. I don't know. I can't see it.
It's so hard to see on those cards sometimes. Hi, Chris.
Hello.
Hey, Mike. Mike, I wanted to show you something.
Yeah. You know I love that thing.
I got 2 original boxes that show the cards. Back here, it shows a Mark Fidrich rookie card there.
That is great. That's 74,
this is the small one, and then I have a big one too, different year. Shows Reggie there on the front.
Yeah, those are great. And you can get the whole set of those too. That's one thing I really want to do. Is I pick them all.
Oh, you can pick these up for next to nothing, especially the later ones. You know, the 71s are the only ones that are expensive.
Yeah.
And for anybody that doesn't know, the 75s are the second scarcest, and nobody really knows why. But they seem to be.
Hey, I just wanted to pop on here real quick and make sure this is really Mike Petty.
How are you, my friend?
I am great. And I tell you, you need to get off your ass and do a video.
Just like you got one. Theo's going to make all my videos from now on.
Now you're my favorite non-YouTuber on YouTube.
Well, that's why I'm a Hall of Famer. Soon you'll be a Hall of Famer.
Mike, I think you got like 20 votes for the Hall of Fame this year.
Well, I'm already in the cheap, the broken wing of the Hall of Fame.
You're in the chat Hall of Fame. That's
Bob Boozle and I, we're the only ones.
Bob Boozle, he might be the funniest guy on YouTube.
He's great now.
He cracks me up.
He is.
The problem, Chris, is that he listened to you. He just pressed play, and so all he does is watch videos.
Well, true, but you still have to push play to get it into your YouTube studio. So
it's the record button that works better.
Yeah, I admire you so much, Chris. Man, you've got an amazing collection. I love watching you, and you've got a great sense of humor. You're one of the only funny guys on YouTube. These guys are all a bunch of duds.
I couldn't agree with you more.
It's like a news stuff.
Okay, I'm the dud. I'll admit it.
Well, listen, put Theo the kid back on here, but I just want to pop in and say hi to you, Mike, and hello everybody else, and we'll see.
Hey, Chris.
Wait, Chris.
Yes, sir.
The mayor of Strongsville. Convince Mike Petty to go. I've been telling him, see if he wants to go.
I was wondering if
Okay,
he was going.
So listen, we're almost to 40 YouTube commenters, or YouTube channels that are going to be there, and we might have more YouTube channels there than people that are selling stuff. But it is by far the best vintage card show that I've ever been to.
What date is it?
Well, hell, I think it's like the
April
19th, 20th, and 21st, I think.
Of what month? February?
April.
Give me the dates again.
April 19th, 20th, and 21st.
Okay.
And
where's it at? Like, what hotel should I stay? Can I stay at the same hotel where the show's at?
No, because they moved the show to across the street at an arena, but it's the Best Western in Strongsville, and Orlando has the information.
We'll talk later.
All right, we'll talk.
Make a date on that.
But if you start now, if you start mowing some yards and delivering some papers, you can afford you another one of those off-center 52 Mickey Mantles. Okay?
I already got that one. I'm on the bigger and better things now.
Hey, Chris.
Yes,
go ahead, Sammy.
Go ahead, Theo.
No, go ahead, Theo. Mention what you're
I just want to say we got Mike Mangini and Orlando in here. We want you to kick Mike's ass in Showcase Showdown. So whatever cards you need to borrow, here's your network right here. Okay.
Okay.
That game that he plays with Mike is fun, and they do kick my ass, despite because I don't have a lot of those cards. I stopped in 1975. So,
well, I tell you, it's Mike's show. He's going to have to. I've been kicking his rear the last couple of times.
Oh,
and so he's going to have to rig that. He's going to have to rig this thing for him to win again.
Well, I saw it tonight. I didn't get a chance to see your episode tonight, so I'll watch that later. But I don't know what happened. Somebody jumped in. I see.
Well, that's what I'm crying about. He rigged tonight's. Deal
when he rigs it.
Yeah, that's messed up. That's
so I always love that guy too. I love his channel. He started his relationship with his dad and all that, and he's such a down to earth guy. And his nickname is Susie Sunshine because he's always so happy out there.
Well, but hey, Mike, you bring a different kind of joy to all of us when you comment and stuff, and keep being you on that. You're not gonna. The only person you're gonna offend on that thing is me because I'm the one really sensitive, and but just give everybody else hell if you would.
I will. Everybody but you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming on, man.
All right. Appreciate it.
See you, Chris. Mike, is this the one that you were saying that you needed?
That calls for another prop.
Well, the comment you left the other day, it was for the 71. I want to say this is from the 1970 though, the 1970 picture pack.
Yeah, I wonder if that's the same picture in the 71 pack. You know what I mean?
Probably.
The 71 pack that's actually it's in the envelope like you have, and it lists about 13 people. I wonder where I have those.
Well, a lot of times they did use the same image over and over. Like Clemente, I think it's 67, 68, 69 are all the same image.
Well,
and really you can't tell them apart unless you have the envelope they came in.
I don't have those here. I don't know where they are, but that's a great. That's the only one I don't have. That Seaver, I need to get it. But it's hard to find. I haven't seen it before, and I don't buy them either.
Yeah. That's the nice thing about setting up outside in 40-degree weather. When the inside is completely full, everybody has to go by your table first before they go inside. So you get first place.
That's great. Yeah, you do a lot of shows, huh? You like to buy and sell to get your collection, which is great. That's how I got this baby. You got so lucky. I could have done that and bought that row.
Yeah.
I paid all the money for mine. I mean, unfortunately. So I bought mine two together. You guys heard that dealer? His name is Jai. Great deal. I was introduced in a Facebook group, and he happened to be at the Burbank show in Anaheim. It's the first show I've been to since '91 in the same place in Anaheim. And I went down there specifically to look at that card on a Friday morning, first one in. I saw he had it in his showcase. I said, shit, I hope he still has it there. So I ran to him, and he still had the card. He was asking, I don't know, like $3,500 for it or something. I mean, that's a lot of dough. But it's hard.
That's a rare card.
It's hard to find in that condition.
So you know the story.
I ended up making a package deal with him with this one.
Oh,
wow!
Look at that, baby.
So
I don't have one of those.
This one has bad eye appeal again.
That's got good eye appeal.
Because if you look at it though, like you can see why it's a 1.5 from the front. The color is so ridiculous on this. This is the one my wife said, that's the most gorgeous card I've ever seen. It's got a little spot up by his ear there, I guess. And if you look right on his third button on his belly, it's got a little tiny. But that's where the paper loss is, because otherwise it's
it's just terrible, Mike. It's terrible.
Perfect for me.
Well,
it's a terrible card. Terrible eye appeal. That's what he always says about all his cards.
These cards, when I started on my run, these cards went for $1,000 less. You know, they shot up 10 times and they haven't really come down. I mean, I think you can get a better deal on these today, but nobody really wants to sell them that. You're not getting a great deal on them, I'll tell you that. Nobody really.
Well, yeah, from what they were. You have the red one too, there, right?
I don't have the red one. I need it. I'm kind of low on the roofs. That's why I need really. I got shut up on the heritage option on the roof.
He's trolling, man. He's trolling hard.
Focusing on now, Mike. What are you collecting now? I mean, are you getting into pre-war, or are you staying with?
Yeah, I'm mostly collecting pre-war, trying to get as many Cobbs and Roofs and Honus Wagners and guys like that I can. And when they come up, like, so I didn't have like come as the oddballs, as you would call. So like this is one of my most recent pickups.
That's the one I'm looking for. There was one on the auction, but it went too high.
Well, I know. Well, guess what, Orlando? I have it. I have another store, but not right away. I have it too coming.
Oh wow!
So I'm going to trade it to you, but it's going to cost you a roof, and then
it's going to cost me something. But I'll
give you
about that.
I mean, I'm going to give you this, and I'll throw in that 52 Redman Willie Mays, and then a check. Yeah,
we'll see. We'll talk about it. We'll
talk about it.
I want that card.
Yeah, and this is another one that I picked up last year. I love this.
Oh man, look what he's got there.
Look at it. There was one of these in the auction. This card's on it.
That's a sick card.
And that guy that comes on with his son, then that collects the air, and he's just an amazing. Him and this kid that is
Matt and Tyrus.
Matt and Tyler, yeah, I love those guys.
Yeah.
They have one of these. I think they have a nice one.
There he is. He's in the chat right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I love it. I mean, he's got the derbies. I missed out on those. I mean, I can't find those anywhere.
Well, hey, Mike, while you're on the topic though, like what's a couple of your dream cards that you like really, really want?
That's a good question. I mean, nothing satisfies me. You know, just like Mancini, probably nothing set in Orlando. I mean, you get that card, and it's like shit. What's next? It's like
that's the problem.
I mean, it is kind of it's a good problem to have, but I mean, it's like I think I'm looking for like the Cobb, more Cobbs, like that. I don't even know a lot of the numbers and letters and stuff, but I think it's the Champions 227 or W227. Who's got one? I'm sure John's got one.
Oh, the Champions? That's the T212.
T212. Yeah. Okay. So that's what I think that's what I'm looking for. The one with
that's a cool one. I have Home Run Baker from that set. I love it. One of my favorite cards.
Burbank Cards has a decent one that I see on eBay. They're about 20 minutes from me. So I thought about driving over. I've actually never been there. I've never been to that card store. You know, I've never, and it's been there for 30 years, I think.
Well, Mike, I'll tell you, you're not going to see too many of those. If you have a chance to grab one and you want it, you might want to grab it.
And it's got creases and stuff because I can't imagine getting into a bidding with it. But these heritage auctions and these REA auctions are almost next to impossible to win anything. And and then paying that 30%, and oh my God, it's just like you might as well stick a needle in my eye.
Yeah, I was feeling left out. You guys don't have the 58 Hires root beer test, Willie Mays.
Which one?
The 58 Hires Willie Mays Test.
Test.
The one with the knot hole.
Yeah, you were. I was feeling left out because everybody's showing theirs.
Let's see it.
Oh, that, yeah.
Look at and the big label. See,
Yeah.
I was saying I want bidding on all those cards in that last auction as hard as I could, but I don't really like it with the.
And you showed this one. This is my favorite mantle.
Man,
Isn't it
I love that. Stop
Look,
showing me that. I'm jealous.
But it won't go in your registry though because it's
Go
BB.
for the screen.
I'm half tempted to crack all my cards out of those ugly slabs. Hey, Mike, did you ever see one of these?
No. Is that
Dog food,
what
It's
is
an
it?
actual Red Heart dog food bag.
You ought to shove your mantle in there and then wrap it with that BCCG shit and call it a fucking unopened.
Yeah, I have the Red Heart mantle too. I have this cool piece. This is uncut box back of the 52 Wheaties.
Oh my god, I don't have any Wheaties. I don't have.
You see, this is how they came. Most of the time, you won't see this. I just showed a Stan Musial I picked up that has the full blue around it. You see, most of the time they're cut without the blue. But this is how they came, and they had an ad up here. So this is a partial sheet.
Those are beautiful like that. I love the way they're spaced out, and they almost.
Yeah, there's some great players on here too. My favorite golfer, Ben Hogan.
Shows? You find shows?
I have found this stuff everywhere over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just yeah.
Because I didn't find that much stuff at that Burbank show. I was kind of disappointed. There's a lot of tables, but I mean, other than I spent 3 hours in front of Ash's. You know, he has like 5, 6, 7 cases, and he's got all the stuff. You know, I've
never been. Is that mostly more modern cards, or do they have a lot of vintage there too?
Probably 30-40%. So, you know, maybe, but a lot of modern. Yeah, and that like the one in Ontario they do. I'm not bothering with that this year. But I might go to. I did enjoy myself. I will say for the day. I stayed the whole day. I only bought those 2 cards and then went home with money too. I couldn't find it. Which that's a. Oh, Flippin' Steve is on.
No, and Flippin' Steve picked up a Jackie Robinson, guys.
He did.
Yes, he did.
Yes,
Really
he did.
nice
A
one.
beautiful Jackie, yeah.
Hey,
Beautiful
come on here, Steve. We
Steve,
we
get on the
can
chat.
bring you on. Show it off.
I would love to talk with Flipper Steve. They call him
Flipper.
I think he's getting into the vintage. I think he cut that vintage bug.
Oh, he has. He's got the Mays rookie. Now he's got the Jackie, and the Jackie's got a beautiful bright red background too. It's a good one.
And
It's a really nice example.
Yeah.
And I don't have that one. As I told them guys last time, I'm starting to warm up to it. I just ignored 49 and 50 completely. I don't have one card from that year. And I should have Jackie's. I mean,
I tell you, it's so hard to get everything. And if you collect modern like I do, and all sports like I do, I mean, man, it's just an infinite number of cards you can get. So
right,
it gets harder and harder.
You have to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, and they keep making them, by the tens of millions every year.
I think I have a little focus too going into this year. Now that I stop with eBay too, the $100 cards and the $50 cards and that shit. I'm over it. I'm just never. I'm not. It's going to be specific cards, more well timed and planned out with these auction houses and go after a couple of things like that. It just makes sense for me at this point.
Yeah, I'm with Mike on that. When you get older, you just have to kind of focus on other things like that.
And I like the Facebook groups. A couple of them, those PSA graded, the ones with the good dealers in it. There's like 2 or 3 that I belong to, and I've sent those guys checks. And somebody had that. I think it was Sammy. You had Garrett on your show, and Mike. They're big on there. And those guys, they have the great cards. And Garrett's a great kid. I really love him. He told me this card.
You got that from Garrett?
Yeah, I did.
Mike, now that you mention it, I never thought of that before, but I think you and I actually met on Facebook first.
Really?
Yeah, that's where I know your name from. I remember seeing
Mike Petty on Facebook.
Because what's that?
I'm not under Mike Petty.
Oh, you're not.
No.
Oh.
That's my rock star name.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just to avoid the IRS.
I must be wrong then.
It has nothing to do with the IRS, believe me.
I was when I first got back into the hobby, before I even knew anybody was on YouTube, I bought a lot of cards in Facebook groups. A lot.
But are you on that, like that PSA graded?
I was, but I don't know. You know,
I stopped.
I'm not a PSA worshiper, and those guys
I
are.
never
So
go
I got
on
out of it.
Facebook. Like I'll never. I probably gave up Facebook about over 5 years ago, but I do go on there every day now to just follow the links and my group. You know, even my daughter will post on there. I don't answer her stuff on there, but I do look at the cards on there. It's almost like I scroll just like I would on eBay. And you see guys, because that's the way that I think I want to buy it from them. I guess it doesn't really protect you as much, but if you're dealing with good people, they're going to show you the card front and back. And if you're not happy with it, they're going to take it back. And I deal with only the good, decent dealers, you know?
Yeah, you got to be careful on Facebook. The thing about Facebook that's good is to buy collections, because you can get collections and then sell some of it off like that.
From the marketplace, though?
Well,
like the Facebook marketplace is kind of filled with shady characters.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy from there. But Orlando, to your point, I was buying a ton of stuff on there, and I got to know certain sellers. But it did get to the point where I just was afraid to buy on there. You had a lot of shady characters that come on, brand new Facebook page. You know, they'd scam somebody, close that, open a new one under a different name. There was a lot of that going on.
They recently created profiles that mimicked a lot of the big time dealers. There's one guy who created like 3 or 4.
Yeah, that Jamal Cahill. I think that's because the nephew or something of Ash. He got spoofed. You know, where they took his pictures that he showed with a coin, and then they tried to post it. So yeah, I guess there's always that. And then of course Net 54, I've really enjoyed in the last 10 years. Buying off that group, and they, you know, they're all there are some great collectors on there. Are you on there, John?
I'm not. I've never been, just because I can't stand those message boards. Just
but John,
I don't go on them as much, but I used to be more active when I was in the autograph section too, because I like to opine on the mantle signatures. I learned that was one of the things I did, like in 2006, 7. I learned because I got beat on a lot of nano autographs. You know, there are so many fakes. I mean, there's 99% of the fakes are on eBay. Yeah. And I mean, I could literally look at a mantle in a blink, and it's almost like, you know, those things, those pictures they had back in the day when you'd look at them and you look at them and you'd blink a few times and you'd see another picture within a picture. That's kind of like I am with the mantle autograph. I could see just in a blink fake. You know, like even without a close-up.
Well, what's interesting about Mantle's autograph, and I've studied that over the years, and man, his signature changed like 38 times over the years. And there was a website dedicated to it where you could actually tell like the era, the few years. They would break it down like this was his signature when he came up, which looks totally different.
It does.
And then over the years, as it, you know, developed into that slant that we all know now. But it was interesting because they'd be like, this was from 1990 to 1996 or whatever. And it's real education because, you know, what happens with a lot of people, I just want to say this, what happens with a lot of people is they'll know somebody's signature. And then, so if they see one that's different, they just say that's, you know, that's fake. That's not what I'm used to seeing. Right. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's fake. In fact, there's nuances where, like if you get Johnny Unitas' signature after he retired, where he developed his arm problem, it's not going to look like an early Johnny Unitas signature.
Or Hank Aaron when he couldn't see it.
Right.
Old man Aaron versus the star Aaron back in the 80s.
So you just can't dismiss these things like that. I know Lawrence Taylor had 2 very distinctively different signatures. I know Dave Parker had 2 different signatures at least. So you can't, sometimes you'll look at them and say, oh, this is fake. But if you look, you will find authenticated ones many times. It looks like yours.
Mantle's signature is such a work of art on every picture. That's the one thing that you need to look for. So I collected a lot of, I have a lot of 8x10s. I had a few 16x20s before my construction around here. And I'll have those back up by the weekend. But if you look at the way he signs, he fits his name in like it's freaking perfect to the end, to the sweet spot. And I'm not talking about this much. It's perfect.
That's because he signed 2
Yeah.
million things.
Because he signed 2
Yeah.
million of them. I don't care. Drunk you.
But-
He's
but
got
the
to
beau-
go look at the ball. He was probably drunk. Bullshit. It's a perfect signature.
The beauty
Well,
of
you know, that's the
Mantle
other
is-
thing about signatures is like a guy like that, he was probably signing on his leg, coming off the field for some of them.
True.
And you know, not everything that you see signed was on a flat at a card show, right? A lot of these times they're taking them, they're signing them on their hand or on their leg and
Right.
handing them back and doing 20 or 30 at a time.
My
And that
point
will change
too-
their signature
Yeah.
somewhat.
My point was too, even on Net 54, I'll opine on some of these, and I've been proven wrong before. So I'd say I'm about 99% on, you know, but because some of the fakes now that are really good, and that's why, you know, with the red jacket, he was saying, where did all these come from? And those are they're looking good. You know what I mean? All these signed cards, and I never understood the fascination with the signed cards necessarily because a lot of them don't look good because they not that much of a sweet spot to it, or they're hidden, and nothing like the picture. But I mean, people love them, and the ones that, you know, I mean, whatever if that's going to
That's the new big thing. But I'm with you. Like many times, I'll look at it. It ruins the card. It's like too big, or it's over a key part of the card.
Yeah.
And if I want the card, I don't necessarily want a signature on it.
Orlando's
I'm with you,
gonna have me
but
on Orlando's gonna have me on, and I'm gonna show all my mantle autographs on the 8x10s and my balls, and I'll show people all the, you know, these cartoonish fakes that are out there right now, or they were. In fact, a lot of the baseball card people do the same thing. They trim, and they sell all their trim shit, and then they buy all the premium stuff. They were doing that, you know, with the fake mantles.
Yeah.
So these guys like Tony Posada, he's a big guy in Florida, Orlando. I don't know, you know him, right?
I've heard the name, yeah.
So he used to work for Scoreboard as doing their framing work. Finally, they kicked him out. They did their own framing, and he got mad, and he said he had this deal with Golden, and he bought 100,000 mantle autographs and some bullshit story that Ken Golden, he shot him right down. So that was a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah,
He was selling these inkjet mantles that are still out there with his stupid COA or Global or GAI, who, you know, the Mike Baker collection, we call it, all those fake autographs. And they got through, you know, and whatever. But he bought all the good stuff, though.
All right. So
all right. The chat has a question.
What chat?
I muted Mangini and Orlando so John can ask the question.
All right. The chat, by popular demand, wants the explanation for why Mike Petty will not use eBay anymore.
Oh, really? All right, we're gonna go down that road. So they've over the years, I've had 3 or 4, you know, accounts with them that they kind of always, in the end, I kind of always had a bad taste in my mouth for them. So I always would say I have one nerve and eBay is on it. You know what I mean? So they just push my buttons. But recently, so I bought a card at the end of the year. It was a very good year last year. So I said, I'm going to treat myself to a nice little card and pay the tax and buy. And I made a mega bid, whatever the hell you guys call it. And I got stuck with the card, but it was a nice card. You know, I said, all right, well, I'm not going to be the sports card therapist with my bald cap and not pay for it. I don't want to get checked out there. So pay the guy. It goes through the. He showed one picture of the front, one picture of the back. Mind you, it's a $3,000+ card, and so you can kind of see that there was a little bit of a crack in the case. It was a BVG, you know, and so I knew there was something there. So you wait 2-3 weeks. I think the card came after the first of the year. It goes through. I thought that Authentication might catch it. You know, like they might say this just because in the description, I did look in his description. There was no mention of the crack. Should I have gone, you know, done my due diligence and maybe wrote the guy, hey, can we get some better pictures of the case? But, you know, he cut the card off at the case. It had what I would call a star crack. So a crack in the middle that just went out 5 ways. And then, so the card comes. And, you know, you're expecting a 3,000. What happens when you get a card, John, like that? You look at it like when I got this one. So I had to buy, you know, I open that up and go, man, that is a really nice card. That, you know, it was worth it, what I paid for it. So I got the card. I opened the thing up. What the fuck is this? It's got stress cracks all the way down the side, you know, plus that big one. And it's in that plastic case, so you can't really see it. And it's got the tag on the back. I write the guy back right away, and I said, you know what? I go, what? I was kind of, I might have, you know how I am. I'm a little snarky. I was nice, but snarky. No F-bombs.
Just a little snarky.
Just a little snarky, like, because I felt scammed. Because he only showed the one picture, and he didn't describe it. And he had sold some nice cards in the past. Like, you know damn well, if you're buying from any of these dealers, or Sammy, or guys that are selling, if you have a crap, not that I care necessarily about the case, but it does affect the value of the card. So now I've got the damn card in my hand, and I try to write the guy, and I said, you know, I could send it into SGC if you want, but if it's not going to get the same grade, you know damn well it's going down a grade. And I said that he wants to credit me $300 or something. I go, I mean, I don't want to take. I'm not a gambling guy. I said I just want to send the card back at this point, you know. So I put he didn't want to really, he did say he would take it back, but at that time, I put a case in with eBay. So you're wondering why I'm mad at eBay. So the case goes through, the guy agrees to take it back or give me $300. And eBay, after I showed them all the damn pictures and everything, they said, no, you're stuck with it, Fatso. I said, no. You're not going to get me, I'm not going to pay for $3,000, whether I love the card or not. I'm not spending $3,000 on a card and then you're going to shove it down my throat. So
why did they say you're stuck with it? They said the pictures were good enough. You should have known the crack was in it.
Because I should have saw the crack. It had a crack, but in the meantime, it had 5 or 6 different cracks that weren't shown. You know, on it, and the $300 here's the thing: if I'd have bought that from a dealer or one of you guys, I would have said, I'm going to send it into SGC. And let's see where it grades, and we'll make a deal on the card. Maybe you give me $100. Maybe it comes back at the same grade. You know, and I'll pay for the $100 or whatever it is to ship it. I don't care. But when you're on eBay, you know, you got to do everything through eBay. You can't really communicate with the guy. I don't even know who the hell the guy is, to be honest with you. So I don't like that. I don't like the fact that I don't know who I'm buying from, and I'm buying from fucking crooks at eBay because their authentication program didn't catch it. It wasn't so I had to go fight PayPal. And I figure if I lose in PayPal, then I got to go to my credit card. So I won the case in PayPal. In the meantime, we'll see how it goes. I'm going to try to, it'll be a double. So we'll see if I can make a deal with the guy, you know, because he just went radio silent on me. You know, obviously he doesn't want to talk about it because eBay found in his favor. But I don't think he has his money. Here's the thing. The poor guy, he doesn't have his money and he doesn't have his card. You know? So I have a stupid card. I have another couple of weeks. But I just said, I don't want to deal with this shit again.
Mike,
So Mike,
what card is it? Can you show it?
I don't have it.
Oh,
because that's another story. So because I figured I'm just going to send it to SGC anyway, and let's see what they say. So if it crosses over to a particular grade, I'll keep it and have a double and trade it to Orlando, or I'll send it back to the guy and get my credit back if it just doesn't come back at all. You know.
Why does Orlando get it?
Huh?
Why does Orlando get it?
I don't know. Well, so what do you guys think? You think I'm an asshole for doing that?
John, because I'm his agent. Yeah. He's been stalking me.
Am I an asshole
ever since.
The back or what? I mean, am I wrong about the case, or was I being?
You're right. If it's a $3,000 card and the case is cracked,
I wouldn't have
that bad.
If I was selling that card, I would certainly point that out. Because what good is you get your dream card and the case is all jacked up? It's horrible.
Advertising. It's false advertising.
All right, so that at least affirms my my suspicion. Because that's what I told PayPal, and they did showed my.
Yeah. Now, how much is it to cross over a card from BVG to SGC on a $3,000 card?
It was $85 plus ship. So that's the other story. So then I pack it up. My buddy wants me to send a bunch of cards in for him. I don't have many more cards that I want to grade with SGC because I've been I love grading with them. I mean, they're a great company. You know, so I will grade with them, but I don't have anything much more to grade. I did put a little package together. I put it in a priority box. Here's the shit I want. It would really piss me off. So I put it on a Friday afternoon, priority mail, print the label up on stamps.com like I've done a billion times for my clients and for everybody. Drop it over at the local post office. I go on at 6:30 that night, and it says counterfeit postage. Your package has been held. It will not be delivered, and you won't get it back. It's property of the U.S. Postal Service. On a Friday afternoon at 6:30 on a Labor Day weekend. And here I have $5,000 worth of cards. And I really was pissed. So, I mean, as you might imagine, it caused a lot of conflict around here, around the household. The dog didn't talk to me for 2 days, and forget about my wife. There was no date nights happening.
Well, the post office can't hold your property anyway. They can't do
well,
that.
that's so I called a sergeant of mine locally here. That's what he was saying. But if you start reading about counterfeit postage, they have every right to confiscate it. And here it was just baseball cards. It's not drugs or money or anything. So like 4 days later, it showed up. It was going to be delivered today. But then after that, lost contact for 7 days. So it's like, where did it go? It never left LA. It finally got there after the 15th day.
Wow.
15 days.
Can I
piss blood? That's why no eBay. Because if I wouldn't have been sending the thing off if it wasn't for eBay anyway.
Well, you know, I had a problem where I bought a Cuban card, and I sent it PayPal, and I put a note, and I said, you know, Cuban baseball card, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And you know, PayPal locked that damn thing up for a long time. They contacted me. They wanted to know what I was dealing in that was coming from Cuba and this and that. And I'm like, would you look at my history? I have 1,000 transactions. Every one of them is a baseball card. Every one of them. Look at my, you know, it's a baseball card. They thought I was dealing drugs through that.
I got you. Not cigars, drugs. But anyway, yeah. So they got the cards. I don't know how it's going to grade, so we'll see. If they don't grade it, I'm going to send it back if it's within time. I'll probably just keep it as a double. That's how I end up with doubles. But that's a double.
Yeah, I want to ask.
I'll take your double.
I know.
Can I ask Sammy?
It's a great card. You know, I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't like it.
Let me ask Sammy something real quick. Because Orlando used to be a dealer, but he doesn't have to deal with this anymore. Sammy, with everything going on now with people cleaning their cards, trimming their cards, do you ever get worried buying cards at shows, being a dealer, that somebody's gonna try to trick you?
No, because I bring a ruler with me.
Oh gosh.
So
what? Anything over a certain amount of money, you're gonna check it basically?
Well, those hires have a.
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. So I just picked up the 71 Nolan Ryan.
That's a gorgeous card.
Yeah, so I picked this up the other day, and you know the guy who was all right, I'll show it. The guy who was selling it. I mean, he was a guy who told me, you know, he gave me the story that his sister collected all this stuff, and you know, he didn't come across as somebody that was trying to pull a fast one. But you know, just to be 100% sure, I measured it because these cards are known for being trimmed and also known for being colored in, and so I checked it. Everything checked out. So yeah, generally when I go to shows, I'll bring a ruler with me just in case. But yeah, I mean, you could sort of tell.
How does that tell if it was soaked or stain removed, or measuring it doesn't do anything?
Yeah, I mean, I'm to the point now. Is like as much as I hate the grading companies, I'm only going to buy graded. I mean,
measuring just checks the dimensions.
You have no better chance of it being real in a grate, you know, unaltered in a slab anymore. That's the funny thing. That's my problem. I don't trust slabs any more than I trust raw cards anymore.
I don't either.
It's funny because you're for me, I'm safe. If you know the raw cards, you're probably safer because if they're going to trim a card or alter a card, they're going to do it for grading. They're going to grade that card. So a lot of the raw cards, yeah, they could be trimmed, but most of the time, you know, they're going to be done for grading. So I like to buy
unless
the
they're
raw
rejects
cards,
that PSA caught.
Right.
minimum size, some stuff like that.
And
But Sammy,
SGC cop.
the other thing you need, Sammy, is one of those black lights that they have. You
I
can
have
tell
one.
if it's been colored.
I bring that with me too. I have a black light, I have a ruler, and I have a loop. I'm pretty much I have the whole setup. So
Isn't it ridiculous you have to do that though? I mean, isn't that absurd?
Do you ever find anything?
I don't do it that often because you can tell immediately if something looks off. I mean, I had someone bring a mantle to me, and I felt how glossy it felt with just my fingertips. I can just tell how I was like, yeah, this is not real.
And you just pass. Move on. Yeah.
I just passed. I said no. I mean, I didn't call him out on it.
And Theo, you're extremely lucky. You buy all that. I saw today a little bit about your video on all those Clementis and how you just have a charmed life with that grading. They love you. They see Theo and they just they bow down to you. And they see my name. Throw the shit.
I'm gonna curse myself. I'm yet to get a minimum size grade.
You did great, Theo.
I sent my stuff in with you.
Send it through Theo. We'll get better grades.
Well, SGC doesn't do the minimum size so often as PSA. I see so many. I did a video on how much I've been noticing. So many minimum size all of a sudden.
Well, the hires cards,
they have better tolerance.
Talking about Sammy and the maze that he bought, the test. I bought some hires cards from what's his name, Kit Young. You guys know that guy out of San Diego. Been around forever.
I've been buying from him since the early '90s.
Since dirt, I love the guy. Since he's been around forever. Yeah. But he sold me. I had a Larry Doby 58 hires. It was really nice. I got it with a beautiful with a Hank Aaron. That was a 1. It turned out to be a 1, and it's beautifully. Now that has eye appeal, but it's not for the registry. It's a 1 because it's centered. Everybody loves it centered. Yeah. But so I sent the combination of them in, and the Adobe came back as a minimum size. So I don't like them in the authentic case. So they just sent it back, and then I looked. There's a wide number. It's got almost an 1/8 or a 1/4 inch. Those cards, if you look on Cardboard Connection. So, and I measured it the second time, and it measures, the right distances. So I send it in again to see what will happen. But, I don't know if it's minimum size or if it's been trimmed or not, but it measures up with all the other ones I have.
Yeah, no, the cards with the perforation, they didn't have perfect printing back then. I've noticed that sometimes that perforation's a little higher on some of them. Well, and so if it's torn off, it's going to be a little shorter.
It's perforated on the bottom, so I'm saying, look.
Yeah, so if it's perforated,
but on the side, maybe I don't know. Maybe they trimmed the side.
Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows? But anyway, I'm trying to get it in a case so I can be somebody for my. I can be a big shot. So.
Hey, if it's not in a case, it doesn't exist.
It's the Who wants
it? Case? Who wants it?
We got a question in the chat.
Question. What? Go ahead, John.
Question asking what your opinion is on grading tickets.
I'm going to see if I can find my tickets.
I got a bunch of tickets that I'm looking at to possibly grade because
they take so long. They take so long. So, I don't know. I have a couple of great tickets. The only thing, my grandparents, they were at that game when they honored Campanella in 1959 at the Coliseum, where there was 100,000 people. And it's funny that when my grandparents passed away in the 90s, 80s, 90s, my grandmother had the ticket stub still in her armoire in the mirror there. So they must have, and she didn't even like baseball. It was my grandfather that just, played that all the time and tuned her out. So I actually plucked those out of her mirror when we were cleaning up her stuff, and I have those 2 ticket stubs. I also have ticket stubs from the Dodger game when my mom and dad, their first date, they went to the Coliseum in 1958 and Drysdale pitched. My mom wrote on the ticket stub, mine and Joe's, and I had them up here for quite a long time. And then they kind of faded, in the sun. So I always kept every ticket stub from every game I ever went to.
Me too.
Yeah, so
me too. What I was saying, I was looking through my tickets and I found that year that Miguel Cabrera started, and I have 2 tickets from his first game here in the Marlins. Yeah, so I'm probably going to get those graded.
Yeah, but how do you get it? How long do they take to come back? And I don't know if going to PSA, and I don't know. I'm just going to keep mine as they are, I think.
I got a friend of mine, Ozzy, that I see him at every card show, and he one of the guys that comments, and he's a ticket collector, and he was telling me that that's real big now, especially to get them to sign the ticket and then grade it. He says it's a very good market for that, and he's a big time collector.
Yeah.
I had a ticket stub. I was at the game where Gretzky broke the scoring record at the Forum. I was at that game. Had a couple ticket stubs there for that. And I actually, I don't know, I must have sold those like 15 years ago on eBay just for fun. I think I got $100 for them back then. I thought that was
And I got to check my World Series tickets. I got a bunch of World Series tickets from when the Marlins were here.
I do too, from the 70s and stuff. But I love them. But I had them taped on my wall as a kid, and then I had them even here, and they're all sun damaged and all beat to hell.
Oh man!
Yeah. But I used to always show those or always keep those in my room. They were always important to me.
You got so many autographed photos and balls and pictures and things like that. Tell us a little bit about what you got in that part of your collection.
Well, it's funny because I only think I have Mantles, DiMaggios, and Koufaxes. Some Ted Williams.
Poor baby.
I mean, no, because that's where I stopped. You can get some, or back in the day, you could get some great deals. You could get a Mantle signed ball for $200, or you can buy a fake for $350. But the ones without a cert are the ones you want. When they have no certification, you want them real. And you're bidding against dealers. You're bidding against dealers because they know they're real. And you just have to bid that. Make a mega bid, and you're going to get it. But now I don't bid. I'm just, like I said, I gave up the ball business to start in the baseball cards, and I kept like a 36 of them in cubes. They fit in a perfect file box. So I just minimize. I try to minimize my footprint. And so I think I probably have maybe like, I want to say 10, 12 Mantle balls, I guess. And I try to keep the best ones that are gem mint, milky white, snow white, as we call it. But they're all from the 80s, on the Bobby Brown balls. I have a couple that they were back here that are older, like on the Lee McPhails, and they're telling more. And then DiMaggio, of course. I love him. I love collecting him.
Mike, didn't you say you're a Dodgers fan? I was kind of curious. What you're a Dodgers fan and Mantle fan? Like, where did that all start up?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I always loved Mickey Mantle. I mean, like I said, when we were kids, we always used the Southern drawl. The way he's talked and Mickey Mantle. I mean, just the name and just the way it rolls off the tongue, Mickey Mantle. Have you ever heard such a beautiful thing? Or would you like to hear Wandering Franklin? Or let's talk about these guys, or Jaw. It's Mickey Mantle. He's the guy, not Jawbone. Not these guys that they're. But anyway, that's how I love baseball, and I love the Yankees, even though I hate them. I hate them, but I love them. It's hard to explain. So, like, my back wall is mostly all Mantle. And then I have some Dodgers on this one wall over here with Koufax, one love, and Campanella and stuff like that. I just like baseball, and I like the Mantle stuff. I just think it's fascinating. It's like artwork, the pictures and the ball. The balls are just. You guys have Mantle balls? Anybody there? You guys have them?
I do.
Yeah. Don't you love it? I mean, everybody's got one on their desk or wherever they have them, and I just I got carried away. I like to collect them. I sold all the other shit and kept my I guess it's like a 30 ball box in back of me, and I just let the sun beat in and beat them up and whatever. If I want to replace them, I will. But then I have in this corner over here where it doesn't get as much light, some of a few nicer balls, and then I have the other ones that are just in storage for whatever. I don't know why. I don't want to keep them. I should sell them, but some are upper deck. I could keep those over there. Some are PSA, and some just nothing on them. But they're not the older ones, from the 50s. It's from the, all beautiful. He just has a beautiful signature. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yeah.
Hey, we got a chat question.
Another question?
Yeah. We'll do rapid fire. What's everybody's favorite? Everybody's favorite set. So why don't we start with Orlando? Go ahead. What's your favorite set, or your second favorite?
Well,
set?
my second favorite, because Dylan already knows my favorite. I think my second favorite is the 53 tops.
Okay. All right, Mangini, what do you got?
Man, I can't pick just one.
It's not like women. You got to pick one.
1976 tops.
Really?
Love that set.
John, what do you got?
Second favorite, I guess, is 53 Bowman color.
Interesting.
Great.
Mike, what do you got?
All right, so I think my second favorite set is this one.
56 top.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice one.
I just love those. It's 56 tops, probably my second.
Nice.
58 tops.
Yeah. Mike, you have a lot of Hank Aaron cards. You like Hank Aaron.
I have them all. I mean, what are you going to do without them? I mean, I'm not going to be a Hank Aaron collector and not have every single one of them.
But are they on the registry? Or they
no, unfortunately,
they don't count.
They're in my who the hell cares registry of my own.
Hey, guys, why don't we haven't shown cards for a while. If you guys want to grab some cards, we'll look at a couple cards. Mike, you got anything else nearby?
Well, the only one I want to show again, I want to show this to Dylan. I see he's on. And so now that I'm not as drunk as I was the other night. I want to show, and I know that I'm kind of learning iPad. I show that because that is centered.
There you go.
What do you think, Dylan? Is it centered or not? So that's my favorite set. Did we get to that yet? So maybe you want to talk about our favorite set.
I think that was the question. What was your favorite set? What
was my second favorite, he said.
Oh, well, Orlando answered second because everybody knows.
Because everybody knows I like the other one, yeah. The
Which other one? I don't know that. Which other one do you like?
My favorite's the 1888 Goodwin Champion.
Oh, shit.
That's my all-time favorite set.
That doesn't count.
What am I supposed to say?
1888. Those guys, they have mustaches.
Come on.
That doesn't count. Orlando, I asked Mike.
You can't tell me that's a beautiful card. Come on.
That is a beautiful card. I mean, don't tell you what. And that's what's scary. You're showing these stupid cards to me.
That's gorgeous. Come on.
I know, but I'm gonna have to be chasing those now.
Here for Mangini, some rare stuff. The Aguilitas.
Nice.
That's better than Roberto Clemente.
Yeah, let me see if I can show another. Here's a real. The smallest card ever. Chocolate.
What the hell is that thing?
Never seen
look at? That thing is.
It's a 1930 Baguette chocolate.
I saw one of those. I saw a Lou.
Orlando, who is that?
A Lou Gehrig is
Adolfo
like
Luque.
40,000.
Oh, Luque. I have one. I just pulled one of those out to show. That's funny. That's funny. See, great minds. This is a Lefty Grove.
What the?
That's the Lefty Grove. And the back got the beautiful red print in the back. Yeah.
Are those stamps?
No, they were little cards. They were given out in chocolate in Cuba, right, Orlando?
With a piece of chocolate.
You're kidding.
A little card, yeah. Real photo of the player too.
I like big cards.
Big cards, huh?
Hey, let me show you this. Let me show you this that I just got. If anybody didn't see it on my channel. So this is the only one that PSA has ever graded. Very, very rare, and the only set I know from El Salvador. And they're beautiful cards. John McGraw, 1928 Tabacalera.
Those are so popular right now. Gosh,
beautiful.
I mean, they're near impossible to find. I mean, this is the only one PSA ever graded.
You're kidding me.
The Babe Ruth is just gorgeous. It's one of my dream cards.
Thank God I don't like rare stuff.
Here's a rare one. This is a Maple Crispback. 1923. Walter Johnson.
Yeah.
But what makes this rare is
Canadian.
Well, this is a special one because it's a blank back.
Oh my God! You got it off
the blank backs. They exist, and I know there were guys. I got Dave Blue Jacket 66 got a chat going for me on Net 54.
Yeah.
And there was some guys on there that had seen blank ones, but not many, and not this one. So this may be the only blank back, and I bought it by accident.
I
didn't
remember
even
when
know.
you got that.
I
You
bid
didn't
on
know
those
at
too,
all.
but
I
they-
bought it by accident. I wasn't thinking it wasn't supposed to be blank back. The seller didn't mention it, nothing. So I got it, and I immediately reached out to Dave, and I'm like, do these exist with a blank back? And he put the post on Net 54, and there were guys that said they did indeed. They collected that set. Find them every once in a while, but they're very rare.
Do you know who won those on the Heritage auction? Because I didn't. I bid on them pretty hard.
No.
The Cobb and the Ruth. They were nice.
Yeah.
You don't know who
Oh
won.
yeah, cool set.
Yeah, anyway, those are
You know, I'm trying to get one set from every vintage, one card from every vintage set. So I'm trying to pick like a card I really like from the set if I'm only gonna have one. And for whatever reason, the Walter Johnson was the one I liked of all the big names.
Yeah,
it was the one I liked the best.
And then did you know it was a blank back and it was rare? Or did you just get stuck?
No, I had no idea. When I got it, I thought it was mislabeled because it didn't have the back, and I hadn't noticed, and that's why I reached out.
Yeah. And it looks like it's a one of a kind. Nobody else has seen that.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Not that it's a big deal. I'm not that big of a back collector, but it makes it kind of cool. I'm just happy to have it.
Mike, that's for you, Mike.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Mine is terrible. Mine's off-centered with print lines everywhere.
Yeah, like you always say that.
Send it to Kurt.
I have it right here. Look. It's got print lines. Look, I just happen to. It's horrible.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Hey, Kurt can turn that into a 7.
You know, I really need to have
every card can be upgraded. I'm convinced of that now.
We're going to talk more about that. I really like that. I like what they do to the cards. Don't get me wrong. And if that's what I think you're going to talk about the altered, and I'm warming up to those a little bit more now. I mean, to the fact that, but they're expensive too if they're nice.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the card. I mean, if you get something like this,
or what about that?
That's got the black
mantle
borders,
you have is sickening. I mean that mantle and the Campanella, those are freaking prime, man. Like,
oh yeah,
those are going to go for big money, big, like
I'm not
10
selling
times you paid for them because they're
never
so nice. People are going to start accepting these altered
cards. I think so too. You know, that's one of the things. When I got it at first, I was very hesitant on getting an authentic card, even though that I knew that mine wasn't trimmed, because I talked to Al.
I don't blame you.
Who I got it from.
Yeah.
He actually literally went to the house of the people that found the card of their father that passed away, the grandfather.
How can they not grade that?
So he took it in to get it graded. And then PSA, just said that, and then SGC. But anyway, I was hesitant on that, and I paid up for that. But for me, at that point, it was a card that was going to be my lifetime card.
Right.
I wasn't going to sell it. I appeal.
It was the right time. You didn't care.
Yeah, I mean, I could have gotten a 1 or a 2 that would have been off-centered or had some damage to it, and I just figured, what the hell? I'm gonna just, and I'm glad I did.
It's the best thing you ever did, probably. I think it's
so. Hey, so we got to. Oh, go ahead, Norland. I'll let you finish.
I'd like to see Mookie come on the chat. He's been doing his chatting on the side.
Everybody say Mookie in the chat. Get him on here.
Come on,
get on there, Mookie.
All right, so we got a question here. It's anybody can answer it. It's actually from Hugo. Do you have a favorite Rookie Cup card? And I actually got my favorite Rookie Cup card from winning fantasy football. That's it right there, Johnny Bench.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite number 1 right there.
Thank you.
Right here, but.
Thanks, Chris from Missouri, for losing fantasy football. I love this thing.
That's my favorite Rookie Cup. Also, I agree with that.
John, do you have one, or Mike? Do you have one, or?
I'll see if I can find. Yeah, I do have one. Look at this. So that's one of my favorites, if not my favorite.
Yeah.
This is my.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one.
I like that. That has some hot. I mean, it's funny the way it was centered the last time I looked at it, but now that I have Dylan's eye, this thing is like shit off the page. I wouldn't want it. And it's SQC, not in the registry. I like the card, but I have to replace it now. So,
I'm kind of partial to the 68 Tom Seaver.
Yeah.
Oh, another great
I like
choice.
that too.
Yes.
Man, he was so good, Seaver. So let's talk. How about these cards?
Oh yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
beautiful.
71 greatest moments. That's a tough set. Those are pricey.
I
The
love
Makes
these.
us a high grade for that card.
And see how this thing should have been an 8, but it got shot down.
What's the back look like on those?
It's like a newspaper.
Okay. Yeah, Dom Staven Sports Cards has some of those too.
Yeah, Theo, those take big moments in the player's career and highlight them.
But they are expensive. I mean, I'm always the bottom end, and you never find them at shows.
No.
Yeah, I think I only have like 2 or 3 of those.
I think I have a couple of Mays. In fact, I have a good Mays one to trade Orlando of that.
Why does Orlando get all the good stuff? Marsha.
Stop asking.
Here's another one. That's my.
Oh, that's the Reggie. That's a beautiful one.
This one's hard to get.
That's
But
a tough
the
card to
Brooks
find.
Robinson goes for more than this. This is a nice one. That's his.
The Willie McCovey's really nice in that set. I
It
think.
is. I get shut out on it every time. How about this? He got 10 RBIs in one game. You know why? He was good. But people forget about how good he was.
Yeah.
That's why. He struck out a lot, but not as much as these bumps today.
Yeah.
He's strikeout machines.
Share some more cards.
What else
there,
are we going
Mike.
to talk about?
You got some beautiful cards. I'd like to see them.
Yeah.
I've showed every card I have. I don't think I have any others. You've seen them all now. I have to go into the real bad boxes. Oh, here's one that you haven't seen.
The bad boxes.
That's in the bad file.
That's in the bad box.
Because it's off center and it's an SG. So I see
Dylan wouldn't want that.
baseball collector, he's got one, but he doesn't want this because it's off center and it's not PSA. I had to do what I had to do. I met a guy in a parking lot for this.
That's beautiful.
What did you have to do? What did you have to do with him?
I paid him $1,000 cash. I mean, that's a true story. Local guy.
Oh, peeps want to see the Diego that Mangini has.
Bring it on. I want to see that. Diego, where in the hell is
Diego?
Which one?
Santiago.
I don't have mine with me, but he's got them all.
Is that the one he
rookie?
That's the
and
one he
second
bought under
year.
your. He bought that under your thumb.
Second year is so hard to find. I'm
this
still
is
looking
this.
for it. I gotta search for that. I never find it.
That's the first
rookie.
year.
Look how centered that is. Dylan would love that one.
He would.
Oh wow, that's beautiful.
Look at that. Is that the one that you bought under?
No.
But most often you'll find these in scrapbooks, and neither of these were. Doesn't appear to be anyway.
And I don't care.
But this is the more rare one. It's
That's the
same
one.
image but full body.
Oh my
You
god.
never see that anywhere.
And this back is just exceptional. These are really thin, so they're almost always going to have little faint wrinkles or creases, whatever you want to say, surface wrinkles. But for whatever reason in this particular set, most of the time they still present great. Like you have to really look to see them, because these are thin, like the Cracker Jack cards or like the T213 coupons. You know, that the little thinner stock.
I'll tell you what.
Paper
It's going to be a chess match over at my house over here, because the way that remodeling's happening, my wife, she's going to want a lot of things, and I'm going to have to move my pawns for her. I'm going to need to get some of those. And for me to get those, I'm going to have to get. You know what I mean?
They're
Those
tough to
Cuban
find.
cards.
If you find one, buy it. You might
All
not
those
see it
Cuban
again.
cards,
I don't know where.
Cuban cards
All right, we
are
got another chat question though.
There hasn't been many chat questions. Is there anybody watching
Look how
this?
thin these cards are.
My
A
favorite
piece of paper.
Yeah.
Great question. Yeah,
A piece of paper.
What I don't understand, Orlando, what I don't understand is if those were meant to be in a photo book,
Yeah.
and they
right.
sold the photo book. So why did they even bother printing on the back if they were meant to be glued into a album? That's something that I've always wondered.
Who knows? And on the album, it says the number, to paste this card there and
Yeah.
everything. But yeah, they have a whole write-up. So it's crazy that they would think, God, you guys wipe.
I guess
through
you
all
read
that,
it
you're gonna
one
stick
time, learn about it, and then glue it in there and never look at it
Yeah.
again.
Well, actually, the book actually, a lot of them have the information on the bottom of the card, and then it has like a little information of who it is there.
Yeah.
once you stick it on the album. But still, you know, it's a waste to stick it on the album all the time.
Yeah, I've always wondered that because, you know, these cards were mostly glued into albums too. Like I've seen a lot of people show this one. This one's a little more common, a lot more common.
Right.
But it's almost always has paper loss on the back. Almost all of the ones I've seen. So I'm very lucky to have one that's intact.
I don't know where I'd ever find anything like that.
I would take it with paper loss. I would take any one I could get. These cards are phenomenal.
So John,
maybe the best baseball player of all time.
John, let me ask you a question. So if they were in a scrapbook, one of the only ways to actually get it out without paper loss is soaking it. What would you tell that person to do? To soak it or to just try to peel it off and lose paper?
I will be honest with you. I have no idea because I've never tried to alter a card in my life, and I have no experience with that.
Well, you
I would have no idea.
Alteration.
I would think that maybe some light steam that wasn't too close to it might work.
Orlando, you probably know a little bit more. What do you think?
I wouldn't.
My friend Victor bought an album, and he soaked it, and they came out just in water. He just soaked it, and they came right off because it depends on the glue. But the glue, like in Cuba, it was so cheap, like not even glue. It sometimes just come right off. But I think that soaking in water for something like that is okay.
Okay, Mike,
you remove everything anyway. You may still have some glue stain in the back, but at least you'll take it off the book.
Mike, you have two questions. Your first question is what was your favorite player as a youngster? Your second question is how long have you been watching card videos on YouTube?
Okay. Well, my favorite Dodger back in the day, like right in the 70s here when I would go a lot. Well, I always loved Richie Allen when he was only on the team for 1 year. So that 71 card is really rare to find center. And to get that copy, you know, everything is off center, 99. But so he was one of my favorites. But Steve Garvey, obviously. So I think like in that, it must have been about 74 is when I was starting to realize that I went to a lot of games and stuff like that. I had an SX70 Polaroid camera. Remember those? Anybody?
No.
Nobody. Polaroid. Remember those? No. Nobody knows what the fuck those are. So these were cameras that came. I had one of the very first ones in town. You would put a pack of film in of 10 pictures. You would have a flash on it. You would push the button. It would go. Zzz, zzz, it would shoot the picture, and it would be blank. And in 5 minutes, that photo,
I had those.
But the players so I would get to the games early at the Dodger games. I mean, I have SX70 pictures. I should show those sometimes. There's a great that picture. I have one of Garvey, holding the bat.
How big was this card back then?
Oh, that was really big when I was little.
I love his card. That's a great rookie card.
Well, what's interesting is the first time he made it to the All-Star game, he wasn't on the ballot.
No,
he had 1 million people write him in.
That's
how good of a year he was having.
All-Star MVP that year.
He had 1 million people write him in.
Yeah, so I have a picture of him, showing the big forearms coming into the dugout. I was standing right there, and I have one of Ron Say. And these guys, the funny thing is like they would sign autographs on the left field and right field before the game. They made them, and so you'd get to walk up. I would take pictures of them, of these SX70s. And the players, they never saw these cameras before, and they used to like to watch the picture. They would come up and watch their picture come out. So that was kind of some neat.
How do you still remember the model number of that thing?
SX70. I remember all that shit, man. I might still have it.
Yeah, you used to sit there and shake it and try to get it to develop faster.
It had the flash bar on the top,
you blow on it.
And then Mike, your second question was so how long have you been a creeper on YouTube? That was your second question.
Well, I've been stalking. I'm a very good
He's
stalker.
a stalker. He stalks me constantly.
I stalk a lot of good people. So like I've been stalking, I think, YouTube. Maybe since 2016, 15, but it was not baseball cards or anything, just like maybe I watched Tom Petty videos. Tom Petty is my, he's my boy. I love his music, and I was fortunate enough to meet somebody in the band and go to concerts with those guys for maybe 10, 12 years or so. So that's where my That's where my name comes from Tom Petty.
Nice.
So
It's all coming together.
At 3:00 at my house on Friday, my neighbors know that. Sorry, but the world shuts down and it's Tom Petty time. Big party boxes out here blast through the mountain, running down a dream. That's my theme song. Because I've been lucky enough. I mean, I'm very blessed to have run down my dream. It's kind of a crazy thing. Fat, just a dopey guy, not much talent. That just basically, like I said, listening to other people and helping me get to, to following advice of people who knew more, and then also just getting a little lucky and trying to follow it. That's really what happened. And the cards are just a secondary thing, but I do focus, more so than even the stock market. I don't have time for that anymore. I do put in all the time into that. Tom Petty and Steve Garrett, 2 Florida boys. Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
But so I do that, and like I said, I collect $100 bills and gold and cardboard. And it's whatever it's worth. I mean, it keeps me going. I guess I enjoy it.
Mike, you played sports when you were young.
Yeah, it was funny. But you said I'm a great athlete. Well, I was a good athlete, so I was better than average at any position, but I was certainly not good enough at any position. Everybody was. I was like a third string catcher and bullpen, but I played on a great team.
Now you played against Elway, right? John Elway.
Elway, and also Darryl Strawberry.
Darryl Strawberry, yeah.
Chris Brown. They were on the same team. A guy named Chris Brown. You remember him from the podcast? So those guys were on the same team at Crenshaw. I told this story. I mean, this is a sick story. And so I was just a bullpen catcher. I wasn't playing or anything like that. But my friends were great. They were all there was no position for me. But we played Crenshaw in like the city finals. We played Crenshaw at Cal State Northridge. I remember we had a 5-run lead with 2 outs. In the last inning, and my best friend playing short, he dropped a fly ball, and then these guys we started bringing in pitchers that never pitched before and panicked, and literally, Strawberry hit a ball. These guys, they were using aluminum bats, which was against the law back then, probably. And that when you looked at him, I'm a 5'8", 5'9", short little squatty guy. This guy was like 6'4", 200 pounds. And when he hit a ball, I'll never forget when he hit the homer off us. Strawberry, I looked at my buddy and I've only had that look a couple times. One was from Albert Pujols, and the other one was from Strawberry in that game. And I knew he was going to be a star. He fucking mashed the ball. And we lost that game, and Granada was in our league. They were our rival school. We had beat them twice in the year. We played them twice, and so we figured to beat them, but they ended up playing Crenshaw in the final at Dodger Stadium. We played in the consolation game and won. I never got a hit. My big claim to fame was I did get a hit off of Elway at Granada,
that was it.
That was great because I don't think he was that good of a pitcher for as great a football player he was. I think I told you the way he would warm up. He would get on his knees at the 50-yard line before the game, and he would throw the ball through the goalpost. This was in high school. This was like 60 yards on his knees. And then his players, they would throw the ball they would throw the ball in the air, spin it like way up, like you would, and he would just throw the ball, like pick the ball off in the air.
Wow.
This was warming up. And I did get a lot of pickup games with him in basketball. So even though, again, I'm short, fat, I could shoot the ball like Nate Archibald. I had a lot of tall friends, and they go up, I go down. I try to go around the short, fat guy. Oh, no, you're not. I'll elbow, I'll go down. So I did play at Cal State Northridge in the gym with Elway a couple times. And you remember that Mattel game where you would go blip, 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 the old game? Anybody remember that from the 1970s?
Well, you got to tell me the name.
It was.
You mean Tom?
It was the Mattel handheld football game.
Oh yeah.
It
I think it was called Touchdown.
whatever.
Wasn't it?
And it would go blip, blip. And when you turn it over, it would make the blip, blip, blip.
I forget what it was called.
But anyway.
I used to play that for hours on end.
I know. I had that game in the gym there at Cal State Northridge. I don't know how I always had the games before everybody. I had the camera. But so I had that game. And then Elway, that's how I met him. He came over and he wanted to play it. And so he was playing it. And he said, oh, this is really, this is great. I still have the stupid thing where, so he touched it. And I'm going to get it authentic wrapped in some.
So Mike, did you say Elway was actually graduated with you, or was he at a neighboring school?
He was at the neighbor rival school.
Okay.
And he graduated in 78. He was actually hurt his last year. He didn't even play. He was that good where he went to Stanford.
Right.
Right out, I mean, without even.
Well, he did baseball at Stanford too, right?
Yeah, well, he played baseball, but I got to tell you, I think it was more of a ploy because he didn't want to sign with Baltimore, right? And he signed with the Yankees, and he played third. But he was good and he was big, but he didn't throw like I said. He wasn't throwing 100-mile heaters or anything like that, or he wasn't.
Well, hell, you got.
I wasn't afraid of him getting in the box. Let's say,
wow.
Like some other guys, he was a good-sized guy, but he wasn't that great of a pitcher. But
Do you have his baseball card, Mike?
I don't. Yeah, if it's 75, I don't have it. I mean, I should, but I don't really.
It's pretty pricey. It's a minor league card. It's always been pricey for a guy that never played in the league.
And then my daughter got to meet him because she was a cheerleader here at Granada in the early 2000s. And he came back. They did his thing coming home, a special on ESPN with him. And it was kind of neat because they named the field there after him and everything. And he's a really, I haven't met him or talked to him since that time in the gym in the 1980s, probably before he went to college, But so I did have a lot of people. There was some basketball players also, like at rival schools. It was a good time, man, back in the 70s and early 80s. There's just this is a hotbed for baseball.
Wow. We're almost at 2 hours. I think we're going to wrap it up here.
That's a good time to wrap it up. We don't need to go any longer.
So Mike, do you want to end telling us why Sports Card Investor is a great channel? And then all right. We'll let you
I wish the guy, like I said, now that I'm seeing, he had a great opening and everything, and it would be great for the industry and whatnot. I appreciate a guy in his 40s, like he is, who has a lot of money or is successful in business, and he's shooting for the moon. And I love him for that. I couldn't do it. I've made my money just slow and easy for the last 20, 30 years. So I was a big fat loser that kind of just like rediscovered myself and got lucky, like I said, listened to my friends, followed my dreams, and then just some things happened, So I've worked too hard to go into any other business that I don't know. And he clearly does not know baseball cards. I really think that he is. A lot of people are suspecting now too that Fanatics has propped him up, or they're supporting him and they're going to feed him because they're going to make him like a distributor and who knows if he'll get franchised. It's a great. Look, it's a really neat place. It's almost like just like if you're going to go to the National, you're going to go to a baseball card show. You're going to go to his place. And will the pricing work? And so, maybe. And I hate to. I don't want to. Like I said, I don't wish ill well. I just think that the guy lost $3 million in 3 years, and I'd be following Mancini before I'd follow a fucking clown. And I just think he's a carnival barker. He didn't know much about cards. He kind of warmed up to the vintage there, but then he trades it all for a Steph Curry gold. One with about 15 names on it again. I don't know why they can't help themselves. Yeah. So anyway, I wish him luck. I think he had a good opening there, which was definitely mandatory. A lot of people were afraid he didn't have inventory. Like you were opening up in a week or something, you don't have shit there.
Right.
How you need to sell, Mortimer, sell.
Well, that was my concern when I saw the graded card section. I was like, I don't know how he's going to keep up with inventory. There's just, if you're going to get this much foot traffic, how are you going to keep your cases full? That's crazy. I don't know.
Especially when you only have two pardon my French, but two numbskulls that he's got hired there. Like that.
They were running.
They look. I mean, I would have
a pop shop. You know, I mean, that's crazy.
Well, I would much rather. He should have run a hobby shack like the Don't Be Stupid guy. And Don't Be Stupid, he loves the guy. He thinks that Jeff will work, but he knows what it's like to run a little hobby shop. And you know, the shops around here. I live in a town that probably is, you know, I don't know, 10% of the world's economy is here. We don't have card shops like that. We do have the Burbank card shop, but all the other little ones, there's one guy that's been here for 30, 40 years. And other than that, they're not, places are closing. You know, commercial real estate, Bed Bath & Beyond, even a Walmart, Macy's, you know, these big stores, they can't make it. And he thinks a baseball card, I mean, more power to the guy. I mean, he's following his dream. He's young. Personally, I think he's going to be divorced in 3 to 5 years, but that's just cynical Mike again talking. You know, they're talking out of my ass. Blah blah blah. after a whistle pig.
So before we get off the air, we got 50 people in here. Mangini,
that's a lot for you after 2 hours, Theo.
I know.
You should be happy.
Hey, look what I'm doing. I want Mangini to promote his debate tomorrow. So Mangini, go ahead and give us a little why we should go to that debate.
I mean, we're just going to have it's going to be a discussion on card restoration, which I like to call alteration. So, you know, it's not, I don't think Dave and I disagree on a whole lot, but I'm sure we have some disagreement.
That man right there, bottom of your screen, he could kill you. He could run with the grace of an ant. That little monkey. Look at him go.
It'll be an interesting discussion. I don't know. You know, I wasn't necessarily a willing participant, but I was called out. So not something I was seeking to do.
You guys are going to agree on everything. It's going to be fun, but I mean, it's like I said. I think I'm warming up to the whole idea because it's.
I have such mixed emotions on the whole thing. So,
but it's still fraud, like I said, in every sense of the word. You know, but if they show it as authentic, I think you're better off buying authentic and paying the price as opposed to buying an 8 and getting potentially probably.
It'll be an authentic if it is an 8 that's trimmed.
I'm convinced. I like I said, I think it'll change grading forever. That's my thing. Because why grade if there's all
and
these
you're not
altered
going to
cards
get
and slabs?
comic book grades where hey, this has been restored. You're just not. You're going to get because this is an industry that's just a lot of cheater fuckers.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Anyway, it should be fun, and I'm really.
I mean, to be honest with you, like when it comes to vintage, the higher the grade is, the more I suspect something's up.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not suspecting anything with a 4 or 5, but I am if it's a 9 or a 10.
Grade. That's why they.
And don't forget, I have your secret sauce that you sent me.
All right, you get working on that.
I'm going to use this.
Center that 52 Mano out, man. Crack that baby out.
If you look at it,
clean it up.
It's a hazardous waste. That'll make you itch, that shit. I don't want it on my cards, and I don't want it on me. Anyway, guys, thanks for entertaining me tonight. It's been fun.
Thanks for letting me join, Theo.
I love it.
Before we leave, show your old peachy. Show your peachy.
Okay, I'll show my peachy.
That's your big card. You got a good grade off
it's
it.
A big card for me.
You have to end up everything with a Roberto Clemente. I mean,
there we go.
On Theo's channel.
Those peaches are tough, Theo. Don't downplay it.
I'm happy to have it. I love it.
I've been buying them for years, and nobody wanted them. I can pick them up for cheaper, and now all of a sudden everybody wants them, and they're selling for a fortune.
Yeah,
they're harder to find.
Good job,
John. What time do you guys start tomorrow?
9 o'clock on Midlife Christ. I almost said it again. Midlife sports cards.
I always
Midlife
call it
sports
midlife crisis. You know, I've had like 4 midlife crises already.
Well, there is a midlife crisis cards.
And they cost me quite a lot.
I don't know. Crisis always seems to come after midlife, so it's hard to break that habit.
Yeah.
And you know, I love
midlife sports cards.
He's an amazing guy. You guys, I love being part of your group. Thanks for letting me in, man. I really
Thank you, Mike, for coming.
Of course, Mike. You've always been a part of it. You're just in the background.
Yeah. Thanks, John. 3D, love you, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks
Great
to all you guys. Thanks to everybody in the chat. The chat was awesome tonight. I'll see you guys.
All the best. Bye-bye.